The two-handed DPS warrior doesn't have any good resources explaining how to play it, and I got several people asking me how to do it, so I guess we should break it down. Now let's say some expectations. I think that the two-handed warrior is very underrated. I think the two-handed DPS warrior is actually a very decent and workable spec. Of course it is not as good as the dual wield warrior, but it is still something that you may want to consider. When should you actually try to take the two-handed warrior? When does it make sense? The first situation where that would make sense is if you're gonna be in an AoE fight. If you are low on gear AoE fights like Sulfuros, like Majordomo, those fights you are probably gonna do way more damage as a two-hander than a dual wielder. Even though they buff Whirlwind for dual wield, your cleaving is still way more efficient as two-hand. That hasn't changed. Secondly, and this is perhaps the most important one, you wanna go two-handed when you get access to a really good two-handed weapon early on. If you stumble upon the Bindings of Sulfuras, if you stumble upon a Bone River's Edge, if you stumble upon the Black Blade of Sharram early on, I think that one is too late now, I guess. I have it, I never got to use it, I feel a little bad, I got it, nobody could use it and I got it. Those are the situations where you could consider playing two-handed. I mean, I think two-hander is harder to play than dual wield actually nowadays, because the no build that doesn't go for the 6-piece in Fury is a lot easier to play, but this will be a lot more similar to the warrior that you played back in phase 3 and phase 2. The rotation is a lot more technical, and I don't know, I always like two-handed warrior more. I don't know why they don't have enough support, but whatever, let's get to the build. We are going to go Fury. Arms is absolutely terrible for DPS, and that's for a simple reason. Flurry is so freaking busted. You can get all the good arms talents and you're only missing sweeping strikes, which fine, sweeping strikes is a nice talent, but you don't really need it. And you're gonna be missing 5% crit from Axon Sword Spec, and that's pretty much it. Also keep in mind, if you are arms, going mace is useless, and Sulfuras is a mace. So that's the reason that we're gonna go Fury. We're gonna take first of all crit, because that's just free crit, who wouldn't take that? Now Unbridled Rat is a pretty crappy talent for two-hander. That's also another reason that dual wield is so much better, because you hit twice as often with two weapons, so we're gonna generate more rage with this talent. You can go for improved demo shout for support, or you can take this for extra rage, it doesn't really matter. Then we're gonna take improved battle shout for more attack power, of course. We're gonna take Enrage because we need it down for later. We're gonna be taking Execute. Execute is gonna be part of our rotation. Death Wish for more damage. This is a great cooldown. And right here, you got a bunch of useless options to go for, sadly. You can go for Piercing Howl for utility, just to have an AoE slow and help during the trash. I like having it, you don't need it. The cleaving talent at this level is useless. This is just for bonus damage on cleaving. You know how cleave says you do your weapon damage plus a certain amount, like 30 or something. At level 60 it is nothing. So you could go for improved demo shout for support, 1 point hit or something like that. It doesn't matter. These two talents, you can put them wherever, it will not do any difference. Then we're gonna go here, we're gonna take Flurry, 30% attack speed every time we crit. Of course we wanna have Flurry. Once again, why is dual wield even better than two-handed? Because you hit more often, and that means more uptime on Flurry. 5 points in Flurry, 30% attack speed. This is absolutely huge. This is the reason that everybody goes Fury. You cannot compare 30% attack power to anything here except Impale, but we can also get Impale, so there you go, no comparison. Then we're gonna take Bloodthirst. It hits like a truck and we like that. Even with a two-hander it will hit for more than Mortal Strike, so we're gonna go for Bloodthirst, of course. Then down here we're gonna go to Arms. We're gonna take Improved Rend. We're gonna go 2 points in Heroic Strike. We're gonna take Tactical Mastery. Very important that we get Anger Management. We're also gonna be swapping stances quite a bit. We're gonna be taking Deep Wounds, so our crits are gonna scale harder. 1 more point in Heroic Strike. And Impale. We got 2 points left over. We're gonna take a improved overpower for the free crit. We are gonna overpower a lot, and having a guaranteed crit is gonna keep our deep wounds rolling, and that means a lot more damage. And we got 1 point left, so we're gonna take 1 more point in 1% damage. That's the best you can do. And this right here is your cookie cutter two-hander DPSer build. For the head, we're going to be taking Taste for Blood. That's going to give us overpowers. We're going to be able to do overpower every 6 seconds, and that's our biggest hidden ability. For the back, we're going to be taking Fresh Meat. Fresh Meat is still the way to go even on two-hander. For the chest, we are actually not going to take Blood Frenzy. That is something I changed my mind on over this tier. And the reason is you have rage issues if you are not dual wield, because you cannot take endless rage here. You gotta go for Taste for Blood, and that has the consequence of giving you rage problems, so we're gonna take Raging Blow instead. Now the cool part is fresh meat. Every time you bloodthirst you can get enraged, so that's another way to do it. You got Berserker Rage, you got Blood Rage, you got plenty of opportunities to do your Raging Blow, and 100% weapon damage because it got buffed, guys. That's nothing to sneeze at, okay? That's a free slam that you get right there. For the wrist, we're also going to be taking Rampage. That's just 10% more attack power. We still got Bloodthirst to scale very well of attack power, so of course we're going to do that. For the hands, we got no good rune. This sucks. You might be saying, okay, yeah, Quick Strike is the two-handed rune. It sucks. It is not worth doing. It is not worth the global or the rage to do Quick Strike. And aside from Majordomo and Sulfuron, you're never gonna be killing ads and be able to use Victory Rush, maybe in the ad phase or Ragnaros, I guess. So in only 3 fights, you get any value from Victory Rush, and it is not even that good value. So yeah, this is the main problem that two-handed is falling behind in dual wield. We got no rune for the hands. They all suck. If you don't even want to get a rune in your hands, it wouldn't make any difference. You can keep it that way. Nobody will know this. For the waist, we're gonna be taking Blood Surge. The reason we are not gonna go precise timing is, once again, we have 25% less rage generation off the bat than dual wielding, and having a free slam is gonna be way more important than getting a slam every 6 seconds. Our uptime is gonna suffer, but not for that much, because we still have Bloodthirst. We're still gonna be heroic striking too. That's the reason that we're not gonna do quick strike. So in turn, Blood Surge for most people is gonna be a lot more damage than precise timing. The only reason you would wanna go precise timing is that you are over like 40% crit. If you are over 40% crit or so, you can go precise timing and that's gonna be more damage, but that's probably not you, especially if you're doing this build, because if you're doing this build, that is because you don't have a lot of gear already. If you're investing slot gear, you are griefing if you wanna go do two-handed spec instead. That's just not what this build is for. For the legs, we're gonna be taking Frenzied Assault. That's just a no-brainer, 20% more attack speed, and this will multiply your flurry, so you are gonna get a lot of auto attack damage on this build. For the feet, this is all the defensives. We're gonna take Rallying Cry to help the raid a little bit. When everybody is taking damage, you pop Rallying Cry and it helps a little bit. And for the ring, we're gonna take obviously your weapon damage, your whatever weapon is yours, your axe, your sword, whatever you have, and the ring, that's gonna be just defense, because you got nothing else to take, might as well. And this is pretty much your entire build. Your stat priority for once in your life is going to flip. You are going to be taking, first of all, your hit cap, your 6% hit. You get 3% hit for free from the weapon skill, so that's why it's 6 and not 9. And then you're going to take agility and crit. And there is 2 big reasons why you want to prioritize crit until you get like 40% crit or so in this build. Since this is a low gear build, you're going to scale off the base weapon damage of your weapon more than your attack power itself. Being able to multiply that attack damage when you get impaled, which is another 20% more on the crit and stuff, is going to be way better than actually taking attack power to hit a little harder. Also, crit is much better for rage generation than strength and attack power, and we have rage issues, so this is gonna help a lot more. It's gonna go much longer way. And of course, after that you wanna take attack power or strength. It is the same thing, once again 10% bonus, but whatever, attack power is still good, of course. Now for the rotation, this is the part that is gonna change everything. Your number 1 priority is to get overpower. But for that, you gotta keep rend up on the target so you can do your overpower. So that's gonna be the first priority, putting rend on the target. And after that, we're gonna be doing overpower every time we can. We're gonna go to battle stance and we're gonna pop it right away. Then you're going to do Bloodthirst. Bloodthirst costs rage, but it does a quadrillion damage. Of course, you wanna go for that. Second in line is going to be your free slams. Every time you get a Blood Surge proc, that's gonna go too. And next is Raging Blow. The reason that Raging Blow is a little worse than the free slam is because the free slam has bonus damage. It has, like, I do not remember, like, I don't know, 30-40 more damage on the swing than the normal swing, so yeah, it is technically better. After that, we're gonna do Whirlwind. You're not gonna be doing a lot of Whirlwinds because you're gonna be doing everything else, but that is actually gonna be your Rage Dump that you're gonna have to go to Berserker Sense to pop it. And we're gonna talk about the set bonuses in a minute, and that's gonna make this a lot more sense. And finally, your ultimate Rage Dump is going to be Heroic Strike. Every Heroic Strike, every Bloodthirst, and every Whirlwind is gonna give you a chance of getting a free slam. Now, this build actually interacts with every single one of your set bonuses, and you actually can be very efficient at hit 3 because you're taking all tier 1 and that means you're taking free fire resistance every piece. I made a guide on that like a couple days ago if you wanna see how I would optimize for hit 3. But if you take a look at this, the 2-piece is that every time we change a stance, we're gonna get our cost reduced by 10 for the next ability. It was bugged and now they fixed it, so if you do an ability that doesn't cost any rage, it will not consume the charge anymore, so this one is actually pretty easy to play now. You are always gonna be getting value off of that. If anything, Heroic Strike is gonna be up all the time almost, so that's something good for you. The 4-piece is that after you leave a stance, you got 5 seconds where you can still get the abilities from that stance. The reason you wanna stance all the time is because you wanna do your whirlwind and your overpower at the same time, but this will make the timing a lot easier to do because you got a 5-second tolerance where if you didn't get your whirlwind off when you were still in Berserker, you can do it later. In battle stance with this bonus, it helps a little bit, it's not huge. The 6-piece though is very important. For 10 seconds after taking a new stance, you're gonna get for battle stance 10% more damage and you're gonna get 10% more crit on Berserker stance. So you always want to change your stances at least every 10 seconds. A little more often is even better, but 10% crit and 10% damage is just absolutely humongous. You cannot go without it. So yes, the 200 DPS rotation in particular, it doesn't change your rotation at all to have the set bonus. It is just a flat improvement on it, so that's very cool to have. You might have to force change a stance at some point just for the bonus, but that's not gonna be something that happens often. So there you have it. It's just a little fun little build. You're not gonna top the meters with it, sorry to break your bubble, but it is decent. Nobody's gonna complain about it most likely if you play right. And if you do not have a lot of gear, you can make a very good argument that this is the way to go. So I hope this helps all the people that have been asking me over these days to make a guide on it. And what guide would you like to see next? What other spec do you wanna figure out how to play? I mean, I'm running out of ideas, man. It's been a month of phase 4. Come on, Blizzard, drop phase 5 already or something. I don't know, man. Subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.